Hi, Tom Cole, the coach for Steve Taylor Community Connection, and it's certainly an honor and privilege for me today to be with a wonderful young lady with a giving heart, a very giving heart, Jennifer Bohnsack. Jennifer, welcome. Thanks
Thank you.
for being here. You know, we read an article, it was a great article in the Blade about you, Isaiah House, and it was really emotional, impactful. For people that maybe didn't, we only get the paper 2 days a week, so people that didn't see it, tell folks what Isaiah House is, why you got involved. Give us the whole backstory.
Sure. That's a long backstory,
Okay.
just to be honest with you.
We got an hour and a half, so.
Oh, great. But yeah, kind of the short and
Yep.
small of it is, actually, I was telling your crew here a little bit earlier that I was a real estate appraiser before this.
Right.
I was also a foster mom, and
Okay.
that's kind of where my heart came from this. But back in 2020, I saw a video that Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs does
Yes.
called Returning the Favor.
Yes.
And it spoke to me. It took so many parts of the foster care system right now that are broken,
Yes.
and it put a fix to it. And it was hard to unsee that. I didn't do much at that point, except for I told them, I said that ideally I would love it if somebody would build this, and then I could volunteer at it, right?
Yeah.
I would love to volunteer at it.
Build a house for foster kids.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love somebody else to take up the reins and actually do the project of building the house so that I could volunteer, not me actually building the house and doing all that part of it.
But with your big background in real estate, which had to be a huge advantage, you knew builders, you knew people, you knew people to talk to.
You would think that,
I would
no.
think you would have known builders.
No, not really. As a real estate appraiser, I probably knew homeowners more than I knew builders, especially at that time of the season in which it was.
Okay.
But yeah, so I saw this video. It spoke to me. I didn't do much for about 2 years, actually.
Okay.
And then one day I was down at Lucas County Children's Services getting my fingerprints done, and I met a little boy who was waiting in a security waiting area. And he was sitting by himself with a garbage bag at the floor. But it was his posture and his body language that spoke to me, because he was just sitting so stiffly in his chair, staring straight at the ground with fear radiating off of his body.
Right.
And it broke my heart. And I didn't know exactly what to do or how to do it. But I pretty much cried myself all the way home that day to my husband. And I talked to him about, what is it that we can do? What more can we do other than what we're already doing as foster parents? And he said, well, why don't you reach out to that Isaiah House thing and see how they did it there, and maybe we could do something like that here. And that's kind of what started it all.
Well, tell the folks, Jennifer, what Isaiah House really is.
Sure. Isaiah 117 House it's a home instead of an office building. Right now, when children come into foster care, they are going down to Lucas County Children's Services or any organization around the world, and they wait for a large amount of time, 8, 10, 12 hours. They're waiting in a conference room or a cubicle while a home is identified. And during that time, they are eating from vending machine food.
Right.
They are not able to clean up or shower or take a bath. Many kids come into foster care with very dirty clothes that don't fit, clothes that shouldn't be being worn, I guess is how I would say.
Well, and just carrying your life in a garbage bag is
yeah.
indicative of kind of the experience in many ways that the young people have had, and it's kind of an institutional holding cell and not a home.
Yeah.
You wanted them to have a home.
We want them to feel comfort, love. We want them to feel value, feel seen on a day that is really, really hard.
Yes.
Yep. And so that's the whole idea behind Isaiah 117 House. Instead of waiting in an institutionalized setting where there's gray walls and fluorescent lighting over their head, they are in a warm, comforted area where volunteers are calling them by name. We're baking cookies with them, and we're playing in the backyard, and we're making slime, and we're cleaning them up, and we're getting them settled into comfy beds at night instead of waiting in chairs in conference rooms and cubicles.
Probably, Jennifer, you see when the kids get into the Isaiah House that their posture changes, their body language changes, they're probably not as fearful, maybe more accepting of information and do you find that to be true?
Yeah, so there's a story that came out of Tennessee recently about a young boy had come into foster care. It was his second time coming back into the foster care system. He was a teenage boy. And when he hit the door of the Isaiah 117 house, he was labeled as angry. Maybe he should be angry. I don't know. But he was labeled as angry. And that day, the volunteer that was on staff was an older woman, and she met him at the door and asked, hey, what can we do? How would you like, this to go? And he kind of dismissed her a little bit and kind of went over to the couch and just sat down. So she took his lead and sat down on the couch a little bit further away from him, turned on the TV to a cooking show, and they just started watching this cooking show.
Right.
Hours later, his arms started to unfold. He started to have little quick conversations back and forth with her. By the end of the day, he was still there, and the woman her shift was over, her volunteer shift was over, and she was leaving. And she said to the person running it, she's like, if he's here tomorrow, I would love to come back. And they're like, oh, he's labeled as angry. He will definitely be here tomorrow.
Okay.
And so she turns to him and says, hey, I'm coming back tomorrow. What would you like to do? And he's like, I'd really like to make that peach cobbler we saw in that one episode.
Oh, that's so cool.
So she bought all the ingredients to make peach cobbler. All to say that that's something that doesn't happen in an office building. That's not something that's going to happen in a conference room or a cubicle. Those walls that are coming down aren't going to happen,
Right, 100%.
Yeah, so that young man that was labeled as angry wanted to make peach cobbler. Doesn't sound overly angry to me. It sounds like he's in a bad situation.
Well, Jen, how did you get this house built?
Oh, wow.
There's an expense, especially today, building expenses are immense.
Yeah.
Building homes. How did you get this house built?
Small story.
Okay.
But we launched the Isaiah 117 house in April of 28th of 2024.
Okay.
Prior to then, probably nobody in the state of Ohio had ever even heard of an Isaiah 117 house.
I didn't until I saw the Blade article, to be honest with you.
So April 28th, 2024. But in February of 2024, a gentleman by the name of Jim Moline from Moline Builders reached out and said, hey, I heard what you're doing, and I'd like to build this home for you.
Wow.
Which speaks enormously to his faith, because at that point, nobody had heard of an Isaiah 117 house. There hadn't been a penny raised to build a home.
How cool is that?
And yet he's like, let's do this. The kids need it.
Wow.
So that's kind of a small little testimony to his faith. But fast forward, that Christmas of 2024, he does a party for all of his construction people in his life. And he invited about 150 people to his party. And he got up and he spoke about Isaiah 117 house. And he allowed me to get up and talk about Isaiah 117 house. And then he said to everyone in the room that day, he's like, now I'm asking all of you to come alongside of me to get this home built.
Yes.
So that home that's now, we were just given the keys on Monday. Officially, the home is built and done. But over 100 different people came forward. Many different people, large companies from around our community they came forward to donate their time, their services, their materials to put this almost $700,000 house together at zero cost out of our budget.
Jen, how many kids will be able to stay in this house at one time? What's the capacity that you see?
Yeah, so the home is a 2-bedroom home. It's not meant for long-term stay. It's meant to be utilized on that transition time between the time that the children are removed out of their situations and placed into a foster care or kinship home. So it's an interim type of a home used for a specific time period entering the foster care.
So there'll be kids coming and going quite frequently?
Yeah, ideally the kids aren't staying in there anything more than 3 days. That's the length of time. So with that said, it's a 2-bedroom home, but it also has like a mother-in-law suite that has its own little bedroom area of its sort. So basically 3 bedrooms. In each room has the capacity to sleep 8 children at a time.
Okay.
So it has twin beds with trundle beds underneath it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
How excited were you when Mr. Moline handed you the keys?
Oh, beyond excitement, yeah. There's so many parts of the house that are just amazing to me. We have a giving room upstairs, and the giving room is filled with community donations.
Okay.
So over the last year, people have been filling bins, if you will, with items that kids will need.
Yeah.
So like I said, when kids are coming into care, they have not much. Out of the 40 kids that have come into foster care into my home, 2 people came with personal possessions. Everyone else, every other child came with nothing.
Yes.
So one of the biggest parts of the home that I love is what I call the heart of the home, which is our giving room. And it's hard to call it a room because it's about 70 feet long by about 30 feet wide. So it's more than a room, but it's this entire upstairs of the home that's got about 250 bins of clothing and hygiene products and comfort items like stuffed animals and blankets and toys and school supplies and backpacks and coats, hats, boots, gloves, all of it. So that when kids are coming into care, we can give them their own personal possessions to take with them to their new foster placement or their new kinship placement.
Jennifer, you and your husband, what's your husband's first name?
Brian?
Brian. You're special people.
We're really not, though. I'm just letting you know, we're really not.
Yeah. To take in foster kids as you have, I know it's the kind of thing where you probably get more back to you personally than the kids give, you know, because you're helping someone, you're affecting someone's life. It's like being a teacher and a coach in a way, because you know that you are making a difference in their lives. However short a period of time, maybe it's 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, but you are making a difference in their lives. And you have no idea what that tracks out to later and what might have happened if you and Brian weren't there. I mean, it could have gone real sideways. So, you know, you have a tremendous giving heart, as does your husband. How did you come about that? Is that your family upbringing or?
No. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say no. I think my family's wonderful. My family's a little kooky, but they're wonderful.
A little kooky.
But no, nobody's ever in my family fostered before or adopted before.
Did they think you were crazy initially?
Oh, they do. They still think I'm crazy.
They still think you're crazy?
They still think we're crazy. 40 kids later, we've adopted 4. And I'm 54 years old, and by the time that my youngest that we adopted, who's 2 right now, by the time he graduates just high school, I'll be 70 years old. Aww. So that's, there's something to think about.
Yeah. Well, you look 25, so you don't think you have to worry about it. There's a book, if you haven't read it, you should read. It's the author's Malcolm Gladwell, and it's called Tipping Point. And he studied, I think he's done 3 or 4 books. I think this is the one where it's in. He studied what improves society. He wanted to know, you know, with all the trouble we have today and all the politics and all the things that people dislike and hate and people get frustrated. How are you going to move things forward? And you and your husband certainly are doing that. But he studied all across the United States. What created positive vibes? What was it? What changed lives for people? And he found one thing. He boiled it down to, it wasn't some national program. It wasn't some big, grandiose government thing. It was localized, small pockets of local people doing good things, Isaiah House 117. And that filters out into the community. Look at all the people that you brought with you that probably would have never been involved in that. And then they'll do other things. But he said, that's what it is, and that's what you're doing.
So I call those my yeses. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, when I reached out to the Isaiah 117 house, it was my first little yes. It was like, okay, I'm just making a phone call. It doesn't obligate me to anything, right?
Okay.
I'm just making a phone call. And then I talked to somebody at the Isaiah 117 house down in Elizabethton, Tennessee. And they're like, well, you should fill out an application. I'm like, okay, my second little yes, right? I'm like, it doesn't obligate me to anything. I can fill out an application, right? And so I fill out this application and I do that. And a couple of months later, I heard back from them, and they're like, well, what we would like you to do is submit a 10-minute video. Like my third little yes, as I call it.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, it still doesn't obligate me to anything. I'm just doing a video, and I'm sending them a video of why I think the Isaiah 117 house needs to be here in Lucas County.
Yeah.
So my third little yes, and I send it on off. And all to say that all these little yeses along the way, inviting other people in with their yeses, and you continue to get all these little yeses, and these little yeses become this huge yes that resulted in a home being built here in Lucas County. Because it's not just me, it is a community of yeses that made this house possible. It's all the people that stood up and came alongside of us to build the home. It's all of the yeses that fill that giving room full of new items for the kids on that hard day. It's all of the yeses that fill our wish list to fill the inside of the home. It's so many yeses along the way that made this possible. It's not just me. It's a community of yeses.
But you know, it does take the one person. I've been around enough to know that it does. You know, a lot of people would watch the Roe show. He's good. I like his voice. He's got a great voice.
He's funny.
Yeah, and he's a straightforward guy. You know, there's not a lot of other things going on. He tells you the way it is, and he's got a great voice. But a lot of people see those things, but they, oh, that's nice, and that's where it begins and that's where it ends. But obviously it resonated with you to where you got to the point where you said, you know, we can do something with that. And that we need more people doing that. And then you bring other people along, localized folks coming together, making a difference. You had an idea. Your husband was willing to go along with it because it
He's my yes guy too.
Well, it's a team. It's a team.
Oh, it is.
And if one partner isn't on board, it doesn't work. So he deserves a lot of credit too.
He absolutely does.
And you're going to be on our yes list from now on. Anytime you want to come back here and do something,
Love it.
China's already checked you off on the yes list, so you're in whenever you want.
I love all these yeses.
So you don't have to go through any more with us. We've got it.
Oh.
But thank you for what you did,
you.
what you're doing. It's an honor to chat with you, and we'll do this again.
Perfect.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
Tom Cole, the coach for Steve Taylor's Community Connection.